Okay, there was this post I made one certain time on YouTube. Um, I captioned it "The Unconventional Man," and I did mention that I was going to make an upgrade or an elaborate message on that, but I will not caption it "The Unconventional Man" again, but I will just use a caption like madness versus method. Madness versus method. Um, if you have observed, or um, in your daily affairs or activities, you would have come to understand this concept I want to mention, which is madness versus method. In any system, you will always see this caption play out. Whether you are in the education system, in the political system, in the religious setup, in the family system, everywhere, wherever man is found in every level, there will always be this issue: madness or method. Madness or method. Both of them will always, there's something like a battle between these two, or like a confrontation between madness and method. Madness, I'm not talking about someone who is mentally derailed, or someone who is um, mentally sick. I'm talking about madness in the sense that it may be called, on the other way, abnormal. Not abnormal, negative abnormality. I'm talking about positive, in a positive sense, in the sense that, um, for example, when everybody is acting in a pattern or in a particular way, if you act like that, you are normal. But when you act in a way that is contrary to acceptable standard, you are called abnormal. So first of all, let me define, or let me just explain further by saying that um, there are many persons who find themselves somewhere, and then there is a system of operation. Okay, the operating system, like, they conform to the operating system, they produce results. But there are some other persons that will come in and refuse to not operate with this system. Then they apply another system, their results are different. And there are also others that may think that the system is not healthy for them. They don't fight the system, they don't conform to the system, they allow the system control them. They will just come in and go out, but they just fizzle out. Nothing is mentioned about them. Then average ones will always be the ones that conform to the system and produce the same result like every other person is producing. Now, there are also those ones who are strange, who act in a strange way, they behave in a strange way in a system, and the results are different. Now, if it is in politics, you conform to the system that is given to you, you are loyal. Now, but if you refuse to conform to the system, you are disloyal, you are a rebel. And then, of course, there are many persons who don't want to be, wouldn't want to answer the name rebels. They want to be nice guys, do it in a way that is good, answer nice names, and then the same result. But there are also others that wouldn't want to answer nice names. They don't care the name they call them. They are interested in the result they get, and most of them become change agents, agents of change and transformation. They become transformers because they fought system to become, to have their own identity. Okay, now what is this method I'm talking about? Let me now define the word method. Method is a set of rules that anybody who comes into this system must operate within this set of rules. Method is like set of protocols, okay, that you must follow these standards of operation. SOP. Companies has SOP. Okay, manufacturing systems has SOP. The way things must go. There's a mode. Come into the mode, then you get a result. That's method. You understand? There is nothing wrong about method. Methods are good. Like templates. Every company, every system has a policy, a template that everybody must key into. And the challenge about it is that yes, it's good, but everybody will go the same way. Now, the different results will now depend on how much you put in into the system and how much you're willing to give in, and then which will determine how much you're also going to get out of it. As you sow, you reap. That's it forms in the system. Okay, you follow the process. So now, and one thing about it is that it leads to competition. It leads to everybody. You begin to fight to see who survives first. It becomes survival of the fittest. The strongest win, and those who go casually then also go out casually, and those who are not strong enough to fight, then they fizzle out. Methods are protocols, policies, principles. They are templates, okay, for people to key in certain terms, and then, of course, they will get certain results. But there are also another group of people. The definition I gave is not in a particular field. It's in every field. It is in every field. But there is another set of technique which is not found in the system. That technique is called madness. It is not deciding not to follow according to the templates laid for you in the tradition, in the culture. You decide to follow another means. For example, in a school, the teacher will now give a exam, or give a test, or give a classwork, and he expects a particular answer. If you don't get the answer, you are wrong. That's method. That's tradition. That's culture. Now, but there are other strategic means that things that there are no one answer to a question. That to every question there are different ways you can answer based on your perspectives, based on your understanding. There are different ways. We think that there's only one road or one route to a city, but someone can say no. There are different routes to a city. Okay, I might not follow this way. I might follow another way. I might devise a means. Okay, as far as it is strategically wise. Okay, and I think it is in line with what I am chasing, then I don't need to follow the route that every other person is following. In that crowd, there will be too much competition in that crowd. Why not I follow another means? Why not I devise a means? And now, but when you devise this means, most times it is not according to what is here. And when you begin to apply that particular strategy to achieve your expectation, your dreams, and your visions, these people, this other side, will look at you and say you are acting in a strange way. They will think that you are acting in an abnormal way, and that is what is called madness. You become rebellious when you refuse to walk according to this standard. Now, the thing is, you will not apply uh, a strange strategy for in a system that was not designed by you. If you do, you are going to fight that protocol. You are going to fight. And are you willing to fight, or you are willing to just step out and do things on your own so that you can become? The people who made it out of life, different results from others, are those who were willing to answer names. They are willing to be rebellious. They are willing to be to answer mad people. They made it differently, and that's what I want to talk about, because I've also come to understand from the most popular book on earth, the most widely read book, the Bible. That, in my own analysis, I think it is the most widely read book from ancient times. And then there are different approaches, and that God is teaching us lesson from such approaches. For example, our Lord Jesus Christ, in while he was on earth, the miracles he did, he followed different patterns. He did not repeat a method. There was a time he spitted on the ground to spitted on the ground, formed mud, and they used the mud to heal a blind eye, and then told the guy to go and wash. There were other times that he didn't spit; he just spoke. There were times that he would just uh, lay his hand on someone and said, "Your eyes open." Say, "Okay, arise." Different strategies, different times. I think he was teaching us a lesson that in God's way, if God wants to do a thing, he applies different means, different strategies at different times. No wonder he's in the Bible, he said his mercies are new every morning. Every morning. God is a strategic God. God is a wonder working God. Sometimes his word spoke, sometimes his hand will just deliver, sometimes just his presence is enough. But that's not the same way to us men. Men will believe in what is working, what has already worked, and that keeps us in a mode. Now, the people who created this mode will now tell you to think outside of the box. When you think outside of the box, you are going to act in a rebellious way, because the box has a set of principles. But thinking outside of the box reveals to you certain things that is not operating here, but you need it to be able to excel in the system. This system that is designed by man can only keep you according to that standard. But if you want to excel, you apply another system. Let me tell you certain things. Number one, there's this guy, his name is Samson. If you read the Bible in the books in the book of Judges, chapter 13, when he was born, to chapter 16, when he died, you realize that Samson had an issue he was to confront, and that issue is the consistent battle he had with the Philistine. The battle didn't end. Every time he had a confrontation with the Philistines, but I realized that he didn't face each of these confrontation with a particular method. He was using different methods, different patterns, different processes, and different strategies. Let me not be using the word method. Different strategies at different times. And in fact, there was a time that he was faced with 1,000 Philistines. Guess what he did? He used the jawbone of an axe. First question in my mind was that why didn't he use weapons like machete or normal axe, or maybe like spears or arrows? He didn't use any of such known methods. He went and applied another strategy, strange strategy, the jawbone of an axe, because that was what that occasion demanded, the jawbone of an axe. Now, if you were to use the jawbone of an axe and so someone is seeing you, you will be laughed, because the jawbone of an axe is nothing. Jawbone of an axe, but that was what he used. Not the leg of the axe, that would have been longer, not the limbs of just the jawbone of an axe, of an ass. And that was what he used to defeat 1,000 armed soldiers from an enemy land. But strange enough, again, after the battle, he won the battle, he won that contest, he confronted that issue, defeated it, and emerged victorious. But do you know what he did? he dropped that jawbone. He didn't go home with it to form a trade. You know the word trade, then tradition. He didn't go home with it. He dropped it, meaning that that particular that strategy is for that occasion. So he didn't go take it to use it for another occasion. No, it was a strategy for a particular occasion. But we like to carry that strategy and go to another occasion. And sometimes it brings about difficulties because each occasion has its strategy. But Samson didn't form a tradition out of it. He dropped the jawbone because end of assignment. Do you know that if it was to be people like us, you know, we will carry it home, make a declaration about it, and maybe even take it to the marketplace and say, look, I can give you evident story that I am a living witness. This thing worked for me, it can work for you. Don't you think that that's why sometimes if I prayed with this clothes and it gave me victory, I cannot decide to be using the clothes because this is the clothes that gave me victory. Okay, it becomes anointed clothes. It becomes like a tradition. Okay, and then I can make merchandise of it. Maybe duplicate this clothes. Okay, if I can, everybody bring your clothes, let me use the clothes and rub on you. Now it becomes like and it's like a culture. And you know, we like to make idols of things. You understand? And maybe also I'm thinking that that's why we are using the anointing oil. You know, it is working. It has worked before. It is work. Meanwhile, God is strategic. God can just lay His hand. God can just speak. God can just do something different. But we keep repeating things, and that is caging the power of God from manifesting in fullness. Again, this same man, Samson, there was a time he fought a battle just with ordinary hand. He could be caged, but he could loosen it because he believes that what was giving him victory was on the inside, not on the outside. Imagine you have a vision, run with a vision. God can give you divine strategies to win. Many of us, because we want to follow patterns, that's why Ecclesiastes chapter 10 verse 15 is a reality. It said the labors, the struggles of the foolish ones is wearying every one of them because they do not know how to go to the city. Because we refuse to ask him, Lord, what's the way out? You know, if I ask him what's the way out, then my ears will hear the voice behind me saying, this is the way, walk in it. But our problem is that uh, this person followed this method and work. So let me go there. All of us are heading towards one place, and we are boxed into not making use of our divine minds. If you tell an engineer that merely speaking in tongues can bring about results, he will not agree with you because it's not normal opening of tools and this and that and that and that. That's a place for physical means, but that's also a defined strategy, another technology that we can always apply. Okay, let me talk about another man because of the video is getting lengthy. Um, there is this battle again between the Philistines and Israel. Come to think about it, come to think of it, Philistine is always fighting Israel. It seems like an unending confrontation between the Philistines and Israel. There are some challenges that are repeated. You know, they are always there. So that the battles are always there. So that's what happened between the Philistines and the Israelites. And then usually they have a king who is big, who is always strong, mighty, based on physical size. So Saul was leading the battle, but there was a day that Saul saw a giant he couldn't confront. He saw a mountain he couldn't climb. Despite his size, despite his experience, he couldn't do anything about it. It was the giant called Goliath. Goliath taunted them for 40 days until a young guy, inexperienced in battle, but who had a strategy. He had God to his side. He has a different strategy beyond what Saul and others knew. So he told Saul he was going to, First Samuel chapter 17, he told Saul that he was going to confront the Philistine. And Saul was not happy because he was not an experienced young man. He has not been to battle. But that day, Saul gave him a chance, just like most leaders would want to give us young people chances to operate. Now, but the challenging thing is that they would want us to operate, but then give us the rules to operate with. So Saul gave him his weapons. Sir, if the weapon worked, why didn't you use the weapon? So David said, it is beyond me. I cannot use this one. I have not tried it. But there is a means, something I know that has always worked. God delivered me from the lions. He delivered me from the bear. He can also deliver me from this uncircumcised Philistine. So he told Saul. Then Saul said, okay, try, let's see. And the guy went and picked 5 stones. Stones against javelin, against arrows, against shield and armor, all kinds of armor. He picked up 5 smooth stones. And it was those 5 smooth stones, one out of them actually, that he used to defeat the Philistine. He applied a strategy that was not known, an unconventional means, an unknown strategy. Because there was God in him who could direct the stone to where the victory is. Do you know another guy? His name is Ezekiel. He was walking and the Spirit of the Lord led him to a problem. He went to a problem. What's the problem? In a valley, there were dry bones, very dry bones in a valley. The bones were dry. They were very dry. The bones were disjointed. They were not. It was not connected to each other. They were disjointed bones. It was an impossible task. Nothing could bring them. And lo and behold, they were in a valley, of all places in a valley. And he didn't know what to do. And God gave him a strategy. What's the strategy? Speak. Because God told him, prophesy. To the winds. The winds came, gathered the bones, and connected them. He spoke again, and spirit, life, came to the dry bones. The dry bones became a mighty army. The dry bones became a mighty army because he used a strategy, a strange strategy. He prophesied the word. This one for me is key. God wins with his word. In the beginning, when he created the heavens and earth, he used his word. Let there be, and there was. Let there be, and there was. God created with his words. That's strategy beyond what any man can talk about. And finally, in Ezekiel, again, chapter 47, Ezekiel mentioned something that was strategic enough for me. Many of us stop as we progress in life. We stop at where we think that we have succeeded. In chapter 47, the Spirit of God led him to a river. He measured. The first time, it was an ankle deep. I could have stopped in that ankle deep relationship. Somehow, he measured again and moved forward. He was looking for something. It was a knee deep. He went further. It was waist deep. He went further. It was now neck deep. There's no way out. He can no longer walk. But he could no longer walk. He began to swim. If in life, as we're making progress, we can decide to stop at the first level of success. Meanwhile, there is more. And whenever you seek for more, people will ask you questions. Are you okay? Why not you stop here and rest? But you can always say, no, there is more. There is more. Think outside of the box. There is more. Go beyond where every person is stopping. There is more. Use what nobody else is doing, is using. There is more. Be strategic in your approach and be precise enough. I'll talk about precision later. Those that are becoming, anyways, fine. So try to be precise, because if you are not precise, you might want to, but you didn't get it. You could fail. You tried, but as you are trying, you get to the ankle deep, move further, there's a knee deep, move further, there's a waist deep, move further, there's a neck deep, and if you can't go any further, swim. Be strategic in your thinking, be strategic in your approach, be strategic in your analysis. Don't follow the bandwagon. Those follow the bandwagon achieve the same result. Now it will lead you to begin to compete with people and begin to compare. But you can decide to live a quiet means. Quiet not mean being silent. No, I mean you playing not by their books. You can write your own books, your own book of operation. This how I operate is called divine technology. May the Lord bless you. See you next time.